PR and crisis management expert Kevin Craig. You've been going through all of the papers very thoroughly. Lucy, we're going to start with you this hour, and it's the coronation that you've chosen, and an article in the Times about how this is going to turn the page on an Elizabethan era. Why are they saying that?
Well, I'm interested in the language. We've got here the very Reverend David Hoyle, who's the Dean of Westminster. He's going to be really up close and personal right next to the King when he's anointed. And he's saying that this ceremony that they've put together will turn the page. And I guess it remains to be seen whether it will turn the page or whether it will actually convert people maybe more in terms of the monarchy. But we have definitely had an Elizabethan age, and it's all most of us have ever really known. And we're going to go into a Carolean age. But how is that being represented? And what David is talking about is the little tweaks that have been made to the actual coronation service, which he hopes will make it feel much more 2023 than 1953. So you've got female bishops, you've got the King actually saying right at the beginning of the ceremony that he comes not to serve, but to serve. Sorry, not to be served, but yes, exactly. And this idea that there are going to be other members of other faiths, other denominations who are going to be present. So they feel that it's going to be more inclusive. They feel it's going to be much more representative of life today. But I guess it will just be in the eye of the beholder as to whether people feel that this feels any different from one day to the next.
Okay, Kevin, are you looking forward to it? I mean, is it something you're interested in or actually looking forward to and enjoying?
I am looking forward to it. I know the monarchy can be divisive to some people, but I've always thought that Charles is a very forward-looking kind of bloke. He was ahead of his time on the environment and climate change. I've done campaigns for combat stress where he was very supportive of veterans. I like the man, and I'm optimistic that he may be able to reinvent the monarchy for a new generation.
Okay. Your story next, Kevin. This is inside the Times as well. This is More Britons still working into their 70s. We had a report on it a short while ago. It's sobering, isn't it, for those who might want to retire early?
Well, it is, and it was serendipitous that you and your colleagues had picked it out as well. But I just, as somebody who founded a business 16 years ago, there's over 100 of us now. I'm really interested in employment issues, working life longevity. And, you know, as the report said, almost 500,000 people over 70 will still be in employment this year. I think the old idea of fixed times to down tools has gone. Different for people in manual, very physically demanding jobs, as my father was. But I think Charles is leading by example. We just heard he's 75 in November. And I think, never mind the riots in France about pension age, I think we're all destined to be, fingers crossed, have more choice about working longer.
But also, if we're going to be living to about 110, do you actually want to retire at early 60s and then sit around and maybe not have anything, have no purpose?
Agreed.
Because life is, your well-being is very much around what purpose you derive from life.
100% agree.
Which possibly maybe links to the next story that you've picked, Lucy. This is about Botox figures. Perhaps
My
people.
purpose in life is to have more Botox.
No, I was thinking people staying at work longer and longer, perhaps feeling the pressure to look younger as they try and keep up with all of those 20-year-olds in the workplace. But apparently few people are having Botox now.
Yes, or if they've had it, they're actually reversing it. So what we're having are make-unders, not makeovers, as more and more influencers and celebrities are deciding, shock, horror, that they actually don't look very good with very much of these tweakments, that it makes them look artificial, that it makes them look as if they've had something done. For sure, there must be some places where you could go where actually it's so minimal and it's not very invasive that actually it looks very relaxed. But, you know, even quite famous people like Courtney Cox have talked about the fact that they recognise that it actually makes them look a bit weird, and therefore they're either having less done or they're having it reversed.
Excellent news, as far as I'm concerned.
And there are lots of puns about sagging and drooping.
Lovely.
So it's a great article.
Excellent. Well, if you are sagging and drooping and you don't want to have Botox, what you could do is get a tea bag, Kevin.
Well, yes, because...
Why have you picked this story?
I've picked this story, which is slightly lighter, because PLMR, my PR company, we're always on the lookout for news stories that have not happened organically, but somebody somewhere is pushing them into the papers, which are also interesting. This feels to me like the UK Tea and Infusions Association. I've got no link to them. Feels like they've been promoting the benefits of tea bags. I understand that you, in your quiet moments, Jane, have a lot of spare tea bags around the house. And who knew, on page 16 of The Sun today, tea totally brilliant. You can use tea bags for garden compost, air freshener, to soften tough meat, or indeed to tone tired skin and puffy eyes. Who knew?
Well, I knew. Did you know, Lucy? I mean, I've done the
Definitely
cold
the
tea
tea
bags
bag on your eyes, yes.
Definitely.
Did
How
you
did
know
you
that
get
it
through
would-
your life without knowing this,
Well,
Kevin?
did you know that tea bags could help soften tough meat?
No, I didn't
There we are.
know that.
Same thing, isn't it?
There we are.
Lucy, inside the Mail, you've picked a story about bad relationships, not bad relationships, about relationships, but how actually if you do bad things together, that you can become
It can make you closer.
closer.
So basically what they're saying is that, yes, you want to be doing things with your partner because that draws you together. And you would imagine that if you love each other and you want to support each other, you do these really healthy things like going running or cooking healthy meals.
Yeah,
But
you sit on the sofa.
what the research showed, and actually psychologically you can understand that. So if you do things for comfort value, so you're eating perhaps slightly more fatty or sugary or salty food, or just vegging out on the sofa watching some particular program, that actually what the research has shown is that you can actually have a higher score of closeness and compatibility the day after you've indulged in those what arguably might be called bad behaviours or unhealthy habits, whereas the couples who went jogging together didn't actually have that. So this is, it's giving you
a good news story,
It's an
Lucy.
incredibly good news story.
I mean, we know that when people settle down together, people move in together, they always put on weight, don't they? Because they are spending
they're
all of their
happy.
time inside,
They're happy.
making
Because
nice
they're
food.
content. Or it could be that they're comfort eating, they're comfort smoking or whatever, and they now have a companion with whom to do it. So
good news, you've got a lovely relationship. Bad news, you might die of a heart attack. Swings and roundabouts.
Die happy.
Yeah, die happy. Okay. Final story, Kevin, that you picked. We've been covering it over the last couple of weeks, actually.
Yes.
Really hot weather on the continent. Spain especially has had crazy temperatures, hasn't it?
Indeed, and this is very good news for my mother-in-law. Is off to Portugal next week. She keeps telling me, but it's hard for us to believe in this country that it's very warm in Europe right now. You've been covering the story, and it's actually quite serious in that we can be prepared on continental Europe this year for a real intense summer of forest fires, high temperatures. Spain has recorded its highest ever temperature in April this past week, and it does show, as Sky have been very good at covering, there are ongoing issues with climate change, but it's going to be more of the same this summer in Europe, even though we have, I feel, had a very slow and cold start to the year.
Yeah, no, it felt lovely this week, but it seems to have got cold again today. Well, thank you both so much. Thanks for coming in early on a bank holiday and taking us through all of your choices. You had some nice ones that made us smile there at the end, so that's all good. Thanks a lot, Lucy and Kevin. Cheers. Well, still to come on Sky News Breakfast. NHS workers are to march through central London later today in what is the latest demonstration against the government overpay. All the latest on that and all the rest of the day's stories.